We have a lot of companies that will come and ask us, well, there's so many cloud offerings that I can choose. Which is the one that is right for me? AWS, Azure, and GCP are the three most popular cloud providers, at least in the United States, in that order. I won't deal with China because then you get into Alibaba and all the other ones. We don't have a lot of clients there. But if you're in the United States, it's going to normally be one of those three, unless you have just some very, very niche use cases where you have some pre-existing relationships with Oracle or IBM. It's going to be AWS, Azure, or GCP. AWS is sort of the original cloud provider. It has so many services. I think the last time I checked, it had like 400 different services. They're all named something slightly different. They all do something very similar, but a little bit different than the other. And it can be really hard to navigate the ecosystem of all the AWS offerings. They are good if you need massive scale. Companies like Netflix are happy running on a cloud provider like AWS, which is totally fine. Most companies aren't Netflix, so just keep that in mind. AWS is sort of the number one option that most people go with. Azure, though, is a very strong play for second. They are innovating in terms of AI. It's actually what OpenAI runs on top of, and I think they have a few $1 million bill every single day, which is just nuts. It has really good offerings for if you want to use OpenAI's APIs, and then data. They have offerings for MongoDB. They have offerings for Cosmos DB. They have offerings for Event Hub and IoT. There's a lot of institutional pressure that we're seeing to be able to use Azure. Most companies already have some licensing, some sort of agreement with Microsoft to use the Office suite anyway. And if you want Office 365 integration, if you want Microsoft Teams integration, because let's face it, everyone's on Microsoft Teams anyway, all day, going with Azure is honestly a no-brainer for those types of companies. You can also be a Java shop and running on Azure. It's 2024, this is the Wild West. We can do what we want. Now, GCP is sort of the dark horse in this race. They are making a play for a lot of different organizations. They're trying to move up from third place to second place. And one of the ways they're doing that is by following the Unix principle, which is do one thing, do it well, and then compose your services on top of each other. So if you want to do something in data or eventing, they really only have one option for eventing. It's PubSub. If you want to do a global database, well, use Spanner. If you want to do fuzzy searching and you want to do a Google style search, use BigQuery. To where they have all of these services, I think they probably have maybe 100 at most, but they all play together very, very nicely. They all have first-class integrations with each other. And what you pay for is actually a little bit less than what you're going with on something like Azure, which charges you for data. Google wants you to put your data on their cloud. They want you to get bought into it. So which one you go to, I would say most healthcare companies are opting more towards GCP. A lot of financial services companies are more on AWS, and everyone else is sort of in between. So the right cloud for you, it really depends upon your use case, what industry you're in, and if you have any regulatory constraints, because I will say AWS, they don't sign custom BAAs, so which is why healthcare has gone the other route. And there's just all these nuances in all these little industries that it really depends upon who you are, what your business is, and who your customer is to give us a good recommendation, give us a good feel of which cloud provider would best serve you.